The wings are back on the runway. After a 6-year hiatus, Victoria's Secret is marking its return to the catwalk with over-the-top costumes, sky-high heels, and of course, lingerie, lingerie, lingerie.
I think that this show did feel more high fashion. This actually felt like a show that would comfortably, exist at Paris Fashion Week.
It's a homecoming for many of the models, household names like Adriana Lima, Alessandra Ambrosio, and of course, Tyra Banks, who closed out the colorful extravaganza.
They're bringing back some of their most famous models. To me, it feels very much like a nostalgia trip.
Some models making their Victoria's Secret debut. Supermodel Kate Moss making a surprise appearance. Ashley Graham flaunting her curves. And transgender model Valentina Sampaio.
I feel like, they're embracing more body types. Diversity on the runway is so important to me because that's reality up there.
I think that Ashley Graham's was important to a lot of us. Having her be a part of this show and coming out and showing skin, it was almost as if they were saying, I now know that I can comfortably go into this store and purchase something.
This marks a new era for the lingerie brand, following a string of scandals, from controversial comments made by a one-time executive about transgender and plus-size models, to its former CEO's ties to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
It was like a perfect storm of bad news for a company that had really never had bad headlines, and then it just shifted really quickly.
You can pinpoint their downfall to the moment when they stopped understanding what the culture wanted, or how social mores were changing.
So can this iconic brand make a return to its glory days?
Victoria's Secret really needed what they accomplished at the 2024 show. It was inclusive in so many ways. It was as if someone took all of the criticism that the brand has gotten over the years and said, let's make sure that this is the show that we address all of those things on the runway.
The show, streaming live on Amazon Prime, brought the house down with its first ever all-female musical lineup. Cher performing her classic, Believe. South African singer Tyla with her summer hit, Water. And Lisa from the Korean girl group Blackpink rocking out to Rockstar.
Baby, I'm a rock star.
The spectacle leaning into and embracing a body and age-positive message. At 56, supermodel Carla Bruni stomping down the catwalk. It was a far cry from the ads and shows of the past that many say lacked diversity and promoted unrealistic beauty standards.
I think there was a sense that this was clothing that were created very much for the male gaze.
You see, Chanel has these big shows, Louis Vuitton. That might not have existed if Victoria's Secret hadn't done that Plaza Hotel show in the mid-90s.
It really took the catwalk to the masses.
100%.
In their new book, Selling Sexy, Victoria's Secret and the Unraveling of an American Icon, fashion journalists Lauren Sherman and Chantal Fernandez chronicle the multi-billion-dollar behemoth's place in pop culture and their fight to adapt to a changing marketplace.
They were taking in information from high fashion, from mass culture, and thinking, how do we combine that in a way to make this brand really powerful?
Victoria's Secret first hit the runway in 1995 at the Plaza Hotel in New York City. The lavish affair, groundbreaking for fashion.
It was the white hot center of Fashion Week. It was the crossing over from fashion for fashion's sake into fashion as pop culture.
Veronica Webb was one of the most sought-after supermodels of the time, already a favorite of haute couture houses like Chanel and Fendi, when Victoria's Secret came calling.
It was a completely new way to show lingerie. Before that, people did not do lingerie shows. And when you look at the shows from 1995, they look demure, right? But at that time, it was spicy and racy.
4 years later, the show was live-streamed to the world, to much fanfare.
She is nice.
So this is what New York is all about, huh?
Baby got back, huh?
They were a major stepping stone for top supermodels, so instantly recognizable, they're on a first-name basis with the masses. Giselle, Heidi, Tyra.
Victoria's Secret show was a star maker. It was one of the things that could help you cross over from fashion to pop culture.
I'd say that Heidi Klum is the one that Victoria's Secret really made. She wasn't a runway model. An executive found her, and they made her into a star. Tyra Banks, I'm sure, does give them a lot of credit as well.
Year after year, the lingerie became flashier, the stage grander, the acts bigger.
What Victoria's Secret saw was that they could use a single event to drive millions of people to stores, essentially, you know, that they could create this fantasy. And they had women as like naughty Santas. They had women toting dumbbells. You know, it was just a totally bizarre, very campy, super kitschy, but at the same time, like weirdly fun.
Victoria's Secret became a commercial juggernaut, capturing nearly a third of the market for lingerie. As for the fashion show, more than 10 million people tuned in at the height of its popularity, according to Nielsen ratings.
I'm excited to see everyone. I'm excited to see all these beautiful girls strut.
Nightline was behind the scenes at its last show in 2018, which the company touted as one of its most diverse yet.
And I'm just so happy that Victoria's Secret is including models of color.
We're celebrating diversity. We have angels from all over the world. I think diversity is so important. I mean, I wouldn't be doing it if I wasn't empowered.
I saw the embers of change when I was behind the scenes at the last Victoria's Secret fashion show, but it was unmistakable that you still had rail-thin models who were following very strict regimens.
Victoria's Secret, by that 2018 show, I think it was really clear that they were in a jam between trying to stay true to themselves and what they saw as their brand identity and acknowledge some of these changes in an authentic way.
The very next year, the company would cancel the beloved fashion show after a longtime executive resigned and apologized for controversial remarks some viewed as transphobic. And in 2020, its CEO resigned amid questions surrounding his relationship with disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein, though he vehemently denied any wrongdoing.
Victoria's Secret decided to go through a period of self-examination and kind of mea culpaing, and they reinvented themselves in a kind of complete 180.
Instead of angels, Victoria's Secret named ambassadors, including Valentina Sampaio, and athletes like Megan Rapinoe and Eileen Gu. Last year, they also released a feature-length documentary called The Tour 23, in place of the traditional fashion show.
Fashion is deep, very deep.
The reception in some circles was lukewarm.
I think everyone was just like, what is this? I don't get it. It didn't achieve its end. You know, it didn't recast Victoria's Secret. It just confused everybody.
But despite the challenges, the brand remains a major player in lingerie.
How do you move forward with such a heavy legacy, especially during a time when you think about that question, what is sexy now? You have to reach people with a lot of different definitions of what that means. How do you communicate that in an effective way?
Victoria's Secret has taken new steps to show the world they've changed, bringing its new CEO from one of its competitors, Savage by Fenty. And tonight, in its revamped fashion show, its fashion too seemed to nod to the many diverse interpretations of sexy.
The show felt very for us, by us, which I think was important. You know, it felt very much female-centric, very much like this is a safe space where we can all be sexy and be celebrated.
I think when a brand makes the effort to really sincerely retool itself, right? And to make an effort to make their customer feel reflected and included, there's a lot to be said for that.
However, it remains to be seen how Victoria's Secret's return to the runway will affect the brand in the long run.
What does a comeback look like for Victoria's Secret?
Business might be smaller, but more profitable and just more fun.
Yeah, and I think going back to what women liked about it in the first place, it was an indulgence to shop there.
What they really need to do is figure out what is sexy now. And it's never been harder to do that. But that is the only answer.